Hey, well, tomorrow we're going to Tagbilaran. Beth is going to be taking part in a seminar on real estate, and she has to have that so that she can be under the umbrella of a local real estate broker, and so that we can do the little bits that we are doing now to enhance our income. So it's a long haul, of course, with real estate. It's not like you get paid the next day, but anyway, it's something to take up the interest. So because we're going there, I'm actually doing some little. It's a long trip compared to what we usually do, 2.5, depending on the traffic, 2.5, maybe 3 hours. But sometimes we can get it done in just 2. But I checked the oil, and let me see, I'm just topping up here. Oops. Just topping up for the windshield wipers. Already looked at the water, checked the oil, brake fluid, any fluids that any levels that I can check. I keep a check on, and the engine is looking, well, it's looking pretty rough at the moment. Well, not rough, but certainly not clean. As you can see, it's become, it never gets like this when we're having it regularly serviced, but we haven't been up there, haven't been able to get there and leave it for an entire day. It's the only downside that I find with the dealership. I get myself in the picture. Yeah, I find that that they didn't seem to be able to give you a real time when you could be ready. So even though we always stipulated with the Ford dealership where we got the Raptor, we always stipulated that we really needed to be away by 3 o'clock, because as I've mentioned on many other videos, it's not a good idea to be out driving after dark here in the Philippines. Certainly in the province that we find ourselves in, Bohol. So we haven't been able to leave the truck there for that day. Plus, have to mention that we do actually find that quite expensive. But they do a great job, so it's one thing to be able to complain about the time that it takes, but it's quite another if the job isn't done very well. So they usually clean the engine, which of course they charge for, but they clean the engine, and actually we get the truck back feeling like a new truck. And they even clean the inside, if I remember rightly. So it's really good. Since we've been here, I've been able to keep the truck very clean. Let me close that down with a bang. So, as you can see, I've been able to keep the truck pretty clean. It looks very nice. What I've done is I've taken to washing here rather than going across the road there and using the pressure washer, so I actually keep it quite clean. The wheels take a little more time, and I haven't been doing those, but started on that one. Because it's fairly clean now, it doesn't take much to keep it clean, but we don't live on a muddy road anymore, so it really is easy to keep it like this, so it doesn't take much. The inside is another thing, of course. Haven't gotten round to being as fastidious about the inside as I am about the outside, but the outside looks pretty nice now, and it's still a beautiful truck. We had to go to Dagohoy. Let me see, a couple of days ago we went to Dagohoy, and Let me sit down. Which is, in Beth speak, that's a couple of townships away. There we are. So we had to go there, and of course, as people here are not, they're not very good on time. So you have actually what even Filipinos call Philippine time, and Philippine time means that you could be anything up to a couple of hours late, and nobody would really think anything of it. So along with that idea, we got the word that they were actually waiting there for Beth to show them around the property. So we're faced with an hour and a half drive, and we had to push that on. We had to push on, and that's where the Raptor really comes into its own. It is such a great truck. I'm just sharing this for people, for those who are interested in vehicles. It's not really of great interest to a lot of people that are watching, I know. But the Raptor is not, it's not just a dressed up Ranger, even though in some places they call it the Ranger Raptor. It's quite a bit above an ordinary Ranger. The suspension is one point that is greatly improved. It's a computerized suspension, and because of that, it doesn't have the heavy-duty leaf springs at the back. It actually has a full independent suspension, and it's computerized in that you can order, you can instruct what kind of ride you want to have, and it goes in 6 different modes. So it's a 10-speed transmission, automatic and manual, but of course there's no clutch, so you're just changing with the paddles on the steering wheel. I have never really felt the urge to go and go manual, so I've never even tried it, not even once. I'm quite happy with the way that it changes. It just does everything so beautifully. And as far as the suspension goes, you can dial in if it's mud, if it's loose gravel, 6 modes as I said. You can dial in Baja for driving on a beach where it's mostly sand, and you can also, obviously it has to be good for just on the road, no ordinary road use. And then there's another one, the last one, 6, would be sport. And of course, if you are driving a little bit on the quick side and it's a tricky road, lots of bends and turns, the sport thing is quite good, because it does actually stiffen up the ride quite a bit. So that, and let me say, of course, ABS brakes and traction control. It also has a downhill control, which I used to use a lot when we lived in the mountains, and that does not allow the truck to run away with itself. So even though the momentum would normally carry the truck down at a higher speed, it doesn't do that. It automatically applies the brake. So you can sit there, it's like a cruise control for going downhill, but very, very efficient. And we were always so pleased. So 4-wheel drive, and into the descent control, has a very small little warning on the dash, which you can turn on and off. And it really is such a great truck. Really very pleased with it. And of course it will be coming up into its 5th year now. And if you look at it from here, it's still such a great looking truck. My friend Kerry says that if you can walk away from the new vehicle that you've just bought and not have to look back at it twice just to remind yourself that you're the lucky owner, then it's not the vehicle of your dreams. Well, certainly, even now, after nearly 5 years, the truck is such a joy to drive. It really is. Even though I'm a former musician, I'm no great expert on what is a great stereo system inside a truck. But for me, the system that's in there is a joy. So I'm very pleased with that too. I have my favorite CDs, and I never object to the fact that I go into Taliban alone a lot. I used to go in every day. We don't need to do that now. I used to go in every day because we went to the bank every day, putting money in, taking it out. We made it a rule not to keep sums of money in the house. So we never had any large sums of money in the house, even though at times we were actually giving out our allowances, which were quite a large sum, because each student that we were supporting was getting 3,000 or very close to that. So we made it a point that I would go in as soon as our funding came in, it would go in the bank, and then we would only draw that out when we needed it, and it's completely separate, of course, from our account. So that was the scene. So I used to go in it, and I always went in alone, which gave me a chance to be with my own music, which is certainly not the same as Beth's, and I could have it at a decent volume as well, being as deaf as a post sometimes. So that's it. We're ready to go to Tagbilaran now. I've checked everything. It's all ready for a trip up there. I don't have to worry about it. Not that I do. It seldom, I don't think I've ever really put very much oil in it anyway between services, and only recently have I had to buy oil to put just a little in. All of the fluid levels all stay the same, even water. So we don't have any of the usual ills that the cheap, the little mini trucks that they have, that we used to have, the little red, would unfortunately regularly would overheat, and that was the biggest fault with them, and most people said that about those. So we'll be back doing a couple of videos tomorrow on our way up there, and we'll be back then. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and it really does help if you like, because it tells YouTube that a lot of people would be interested in seeing these kind of videos that we put up. So thanks a lot, and bye.